We are talking about properties of rational exponents, and we want to use properties of rational exponents to simplify expressions with rational exponents. So simplify the expression. Your answer should contain only positive exponents. So the first thing I want to do is I want to deal with my coefficients. So we have a -2 in the numerator and a -1 in the denominator. So I want to simplify that. So -2 divided by -1. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so that's just 2/1. So I'm going to start by writing that down in front. So we get 2, and then we don't have to write down the 1 in the numerator or in the denominator. That's understood that it's there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all of my exponents and make sure they're all positive. So x to the -1, I'm going to use the negative exponent and move it to the denominator. So that's going to be x to the +1. Y to the 0, that is the 0 exponent. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So that is going to be 1. Then I'm going to move to the denominator, x to the 4th. That's positive, so I leave it. Y to the 4th. So here I have x to the 1, x to the 4th. So that is going to be products of powers because they're multiplied together, so then I can add the exponents. So I'm going to write that down. 2 times 1 is 2. And then have x to the 1 plus 4, y to the 4th. And the final answer for this one is 2/1 plus 4 is 5, so that's x to the 5th, y to the 4th. Next one we have negative 4x to the 4th, y to the 3rd, divided by 3y to the 4th. And so as we're looking at this, we notice that we have a 4 and a 3. I can't reduce that at all, so I'm just going to write those down. Keep the negative, and then we have 4 divided by 3. Now we have x to the 4th, so we're going to leave that in the numerator. And then we have y to the 3rd and y to the 4th. So we're going to use the quotient of powers here. If they have the same base, we can subtract the exponents. So I'm going to write that down as y to the 3rd minus 4, which is equal to y to the -1. So that has a negative exponent, so I'm going to move it to the denominator. So that's going to become y to the 1st, and we can't simplify that any further, so that is the answer right there. All right, the last one we have m to the 0, n to the -1, divided by m to the 4th times n to the 3rd times 2n squared, and then that whole thing is raised to the -3rd power. So before I distribute that -3 to all those terms, I'm going to try to simplify what's inside the parentheses as much as possible. So m to the 0, that is 1. That is the 0 exponent. We have an n to the -1, so I'm going to move that to the denominator and make it positive. Then we have m to the 4th, n third times 2, and then n squared. Now in the denominator here we have n to the 1st, n to the 3rd, n squared, all joined by multiplication. So that's product of powers, so I can add all those exponents. I want to make sure I remember the -3 out front, or as the exponent. So I'm going to move the coefficient to the front. So this is all in the denominator. We don't have anything in the numerator, so we just leave a 1 there. So the coefficient comes to the front. Then we have m to the 4th And then we have n to the 1 plus 3 plus 2. And that's still all multiplied by the negative third. So then we get 1 over 2m to the 4th, and then we have n, so 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, n to the 6th, and that's all still to the negative third. So we have to distribute the negative 3 to all the parts. 1 to the negative third is still 1, and then we say we have to distribute that negative 3 to all of those. So we get 1 over 2 to the negative third, m to the 4 times negative third, and n to the 6th times negative third. When we notice that all these are negative, so we can use the negative exponent to move these to the numerator. So what we finish with is 2 to the negative third becomes 2 to the positive third. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, so then we get m to the 12th. And 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, so we move that to the numerator as n to the 18th, and then that is our simplified answer.